Hey everyone, and welcome to another light novel review. As usual, I'll be going through the general narrative, writing style, and illustrations, giving my thoughts on what I liked and didn't like about the novel. Today, I'm taking a look at Bottom-Tier Character Tomozaki, a self-help romantic comedy-style teen drama novel. I know that seems like a lot, but at its core, it's a romantic comedy. Just that there's a lot more going on due to the themes the novel deals with. Written by Yuki Yaku, and illustrated by Fly, Bottom-Tier Character Tomozaki, as you can probably guess, is about Tomozaki, a second-year high school student and self-professed best gamer in Japan. In particular, Fumiya Tomozaki is a pro at Attack Families, also known as Atafumi, which is pretty much Smash Brothers. The terminology used whenever the author describes Atafumi is definitely familiar to anyone in the fighting game community, but the specifics of these sequences definitely scream Smash Brothers. There's wave dashing stock battles, and I think they mentioned ledge grabbing. I could be wrong. But reading it as a huge fighting game fan, I ate it up. Anyway, Tomozaki feels that he's won in the digital world, but he's been losing in the real world, and believes things like good looks, fashion, and social skills are all life hacks that other people use to cheat the system. The real world is a buggy, garbage game. He's given up and withdrawn into the world where he shines brightest. He's fed up with the school hierarchy and refuses to interact with others. Eventually something happens that I won't spoil, and he encounters Aoi Hinami, who to Tomozaki is the girl at the top of the real-life leaderboards. She's activated God mode and is on a never-ending win streak. Tomozaki has convinced himself that they are nowhere near the same level, but for unknown reasons, Hinami decides to coach Tomozaki and show him how to win at the game of life. Thus begins the real story of Tomozaki, which ends up being a sort of self-help guide and maybe even a bit of social commentary on otaku life. Tomozaki gets coached in progressive steps such as practicing how to smile, how to talk to people, how to naturally flow into conversations, or engage in what other people are interested in. It's all a very unique and quite interesting take on what at first glance reads like a rom-com, but in reality is a socially challenged character trying to make a change. And that's what shines brightest in this novel. It's that message of you have the power to make a change. As someone who was socially challenged and quite introverted even just a few years ago when I started this channel, I felt the narrative resonated quite strongly with me, so much so that I read almost the entire first novel in one sitting, which also speaks volumes of the author's writing talent and the translator's too. Seeing everything from Tomozaki's perspective makes the narrative come alive further, and the changes of his character become more apparent over time, especially in future volumes. The narrative constantly builds itself up, with Tomozaki being given challenges to complete within certain time limits, with each challenge being presented as if it's a new level or a gateway to a new skill. That's also where the cast of heroines come in, as interacting with them is a challenge proposed by Hinami. It is a rather large cast, especially for the first volume. However, because of that, the heroines all tend to fall into general stereotypes, like the ditzy one, the quiet one, etc. But as a reader, you don't get much time with these characters due to the quick introductions and the need for the narrative to pick up the pace. So most of them don't really get fleshed out until further down the road. That's not to say that there aren't any good character moments in this novel, it just feels like it had a schedule to keep up with. One of the major players of the narrative that is fleshed out is Nakamura, another top-of-the-school hierarchy character who acts as a rival and antagonist to Tomozaki, as he tries to save face after losing miserably against him in Atafumi. He comes off as a fairly strong and layered character even though he isn't in it for very long. He's also a bit of a reflection of Tomozaki in terms of acing the real world and failing the digital one, and making excuses about errors or balance issues. Fly's illustrations help bring the novel to life, and while none of the character designs are way out there, as this is a pretty grounded story, the characters still shine and the designs are good even if the faces are a little samey. Thankfully, it's pretty easy to pick each character out by their hairstyle, and the first few coloured illustration pages introduce everyone pretty clearly. Tomozaki himself is also shown once or twice, and he looks quite sloppy and awkward, fitting his character perfectly. I originally wasn't sold on Fly's designs as there was something different about them, which is half the reason why I picked the novel up in the first place. The cover caught my attention thanks to Fly's unique face designs. After reading 3 of the novels so far, I'm absolutely sold on Fly's style, and I love that it stands out from the more traditional general anime or manga look. Overall, I had good fun with Tomozaki. It hits all the right notes and was a breath of fresh air from my regular fantasy novels. The author clearly cares about the characters and subject material. Every time I read a fighting game reference, I smiled, and it helped that it didn't feel out of place at all, as the deeper mechanics of Atafumi and the way these sequences play out just shows how much the author cares and how much of a pro Tomozaki is to keep up with everything and perform it as if it was second nature. It's a good read and worth checking out if any of what I just said appealed to you. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Also let me know any series that you'd like to recommend for future reviews. Until next time, bye!